This is David. So, good things you have going on. You have a good body position, so you're level in the water, and you're comfortable breathing. So when you turn to breathe, you're not raising your head excessively or anything like that. Your extension is pretty good. There's definitely some room for improvement there. So when you extend your arm, you want that arm to be fully straightened out, so you're reaching as far forward as possible. And here I focused on your feet. Remember, if you recall, we talked about ankle flexibility, so that will help with a more propulsive kick. Now when you're reaching forward, you're reaching right to your center line, sometimes crossing over the center line, so that'll cause a bit of side-to-side motion as you swim. You get a better view of that when you're swimming directly towards the camera. And then with some of the strokes, actually a lot of the strokes, you were finishing pretty early or not getting a full push through at the end of the stroke, so that's going to be something else you're going to want to work on. So here you can see how you twist a little to the side, especially when you turn to breathe. What's happening there is as you're reaching forward, your arm is crossing over the center line. In open water or without the lane lines, you would wind up veering left and right. So there you can see where your hand is entering, sort of right in front of your head, and then reaching forward or even crossing over. What you want to do is enter the water and have your hand extend directly in front of your shoulder. So there would be like a column in front of your head that you wouldn't cross over or cross into. Now with the underwater, essentially what you have going on is what I would call a straight arm pull. So you're reaching forward and then pulling more or less straight down and straight back. That's essentially the second best way to swim. What happens though is that with that first third of the stroke, you don't get a whole bunch of forward motion. You get some pushing down motion, or your body going up as opposed to going forward. So if you recall about the high elbow catch or the early vertical forearm, what that will do is allow you to leverage or create better leverage to pull your body forward through the water. Your hand and your forearm essentially act as an anchor. If you're able to rotate that shoulder internally and get that elbow up, and then you pull your body past that point. So as far as underwater goes, that's the main thing that's going to help you become a faster swimmer. Finishing the stroke with each stroke will help as well. At the end of the video, I've got freeze frames so you can kind of watch it in slow motion. And here you can see where your hand enters and how far across the center line you go sometimes. So that's also going to help with streamline and with a better leverage angle or a better catch angle. So just make sure that hand is in front of the shoulder as opposed to in front of the head.
Very good.
So here we just talked about trying to get a full extension and working on where you're extending your hand to. And you can see how much longer that makes your stroke. So that's a much smoother style of swimming, more streamlined style of swimming. So if you're able to practice this, it's definitely going to increase your speed. Now when you're turning to breathe, you can see how sometimes you still kind of angle off a little bit, both when you breathe to the left or the right. So you're going to have to make a concentrated effort to keep extending your hand directly in front of your shoulder when you're turning to breathe. But having that longer stroke allows you to catch more water with each pull.
Watch better.
This is the same thing, we just worked a little more on the hand placement. This looks a lot better here. And you're finishing the strokes here, so you can see you're moving faster already just by the combination of those two things. This looks really pretty good.
This is catch-up drill, thinking about.
This is more the catch-up style of swimming.
Good.
So you're really working on the extension, getting a long stroke. This is a drill form that you can do in practice. Now when you're swimming fast in a race, you're not going to want to pause. You know, when you're reaching forward, you're just going to want to reach forward as well as possible and then initiate the stroke. But for you know, practicing the extension drills, that's good. This is obviously one arm drill, working on the catch. And you're getting a pretty good catch angle there. So the key with that is going to feel that shoulder rotating internally. You could visually watch and see that your hand and forearm go vertical relative to the bottom of the pool.
How'd that feel?
Okay.
Yeah, I could see you starting to get it there. That's good.
And this is pretty good as well. Looked like your left arm might have been a bit technically better at the catch. We all have one side that's going to be a bit stronger than the other.
Just thinking about
And then this was just working on putting it all together. So long stroke, good catch, good finish. So things for you to work on, you know, extension, where you're extending to, and a high elbow catch. So frame by frame, good extension, and then you start pulling, and notice how your arm, lower arm and upper arm are at the same angle as you go through that pull. So that's a straight arm pull. And then you sort of finish the pull, this was initially, right about there. And then left arm, pretty good extension. And then sort of a mirror image of the right arm. Straight arm pull back and down. So you want that forearm and hand to be at a different angle than the upper arm at the beginning of the stroke. And then you finish this one a little early as well. But you improve that as we practice, so keep it up. Hope this helps.